Hey there, I'm Lee Ullman here with some big news from the National Young Farmers Coalition. We're partnering with Heritage Radio Network on a special season of The Farm Report. It's all about what's happening with the Farm Bill and how it impacts farmers and eaters.
I am growing diversified vegetables on land that's been in our family for 150 years.
And so with the pandemic, gentrification, property values going up, we had to sell the land and we lost it.
Join us as we uncover the untold stories behind this massive piece of legislation that shapes how we grow our food, what we eat, and so much more.
The problems we have had, those are things that come from earlier Farm Bill and USDA policy, right? Like Earl Butz, get big or get out.
You know, it's my responsibility to know not only what I'm eating, but then like how that all came to be. And realize like, wow, like this piece of legislation, all this money, like it's technically something that I support as a taxpayer.
While Congress debates the next Farm Bill, this is not just an invitation to listen. It's a call to action. Be part of the conversation. Subscribe to the Farm Report on Heritage Radio Network, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Today's program was brought to you by 100 Bogart Street, the brand new co-working space in Bushwick, Brooklyn. Learn more at 100bogart.com.
You're listening to Heritage Radio Network. We're a member-supported food radio network broadcasting over 35 weekly shows live from Bushwick, Brooklyn. Join our hosts as they lead you through the world of craft brewing, behind the scenes of the restaurant industry, inside the battle over school food, and beyond. Find us at heritageradionetwork.org.
Hello and welcome to Snacky Tunes. I'm one half of your host, Darren Bresnitz. Greg is on his way back from LA, heading to Brooklyn. Thanks for everyone who came out to Snacky Tunes Live this week. Big thanks to everyone involved, and we have some exciting updates that we can share with you about the next one in the next few weeks. On this week's episode, we head to one of our favorite places in the world, St-Viateur Bagel Shop in Montreal. We sit down with second-generation owner Vince Morena to talk about the wood-burning ovens, the legendary bagel, his father and his whole family, and how they keep those ovens running in the flame of the Canadian Montreal-style bagel burning. We're also joined in studio with Brooklyn Bluegrass buskers Zach Orion and Scott Murphy, better known as Mountain Animation. They talk about how they went from subway busking to the studio and give one hell of a performance. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Snacky Tunes on heritageradionetwork.org.
We talk about food, we talk about music, with musical dudes, finger on the pulse, Snacky Tunes.
Hello and welcome to Snacky Tunes. I'm one half your host, Darren Bresnitz. I'm sitting in the legendary St-Viateur Bagel with Vince Morena David?
Yeah, that's it.
Right, okay. Hello, welcome to Snacky Tunes. I'm one half your host, Darren Bresnitz, sitting in the legendary St-Viateur bagel with Vince Morena, one of the owners, part of the family, part of the legend. Welcome to the show.
Good to be here. Thank you.
On a personal note, for me, when I think of Montreal, I think of Montreal bagel, and namely St-Viateur. But for those who are not familiar with it or who have never had the pleasure of having a Canadian bagel, let's lay it out. What is it, and how is it different than bagels that people might know in the States?
Well, there are a few differences, and the simplest way for me to describe it is the bagels in the States are based on the New York bagel, and then there's the Montreal style bagel. And the simplest way to describe it is that we didn't evolve. What does that mean? I suspect that all the bagels came in the early 1900s with the Jewish immigration from Eastern Europe, and they brought their recipes over. So at a certain point in time, all the bagels were made the same. They were all made by hand, and they were all baked in wood-burning ovens because electric ovens and gas ovens didn't exist at the turn of the century.
Sure.
And what happened in New York is that... can we stop for a second?
Yeah.
Hello. Hey, I'm just doing an interview. I'll call you later. Is it important? Bye.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No problem. So just pick it up with the ovens.
Yeah. So, whereas...
That's fine.
It's just one of those things. Bagel St-Viateur? Oui. Oui, café bistro. 10 douzaines? 10 douzaines. Parfait, merci. Bye-bye.
Perfect. So the ovens.
So what happened in the States was that they switched to gas ovens early on, and they actually switched to automation early on. Before the first bagel machine was invented in 1951 by Thompson, but before then they actually had what was a Griselli machine, a breadstick machine from Italy, and then they would close them by hand. So the Americans found a way to mass produce them a lot quicker than we did up here in Canada. And for example, our ovens, we still work at a pace of 35 dozen an hour, whereas the most rudimentary bagel machine in the States is 100 dozen an hour.
Yeah, but 35 dozen an hour is still by hand an impressive feat.
Yeah, well, I mean, we work at 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So we end up making a lot of bagels, and we've expanded to 8 locations and 10 ovens. So we're making a lot of bagels by hand every day.
Well, before we talk about the expansion, let's go back to the very beginning with Meyer Lekovitz.
Right.
He came over after being in a concentration camp.
Yeah, well, Meyer's story was... the beginning of his story is a sad one, which is they literally found him. If the war would have lasted another month, he probably would have been dead.
Yeah.
He was a 12 or 13-year-old boy, and they found him in a concentration camp hiding. So he had lost all his family, so he ended up growing up in Germany. And he actually married a German, Emma, and together with a family friend, Jerry, they all immigrated here to Canada in the early 50s. And Meyer had odd jobs here and there, but there was an original mythical bagel shop that existed on St. Lawrence Street here in Montreal, next to the famous Schwartz smoked meat, and that's where that's the shop that spawned us, which is St-Viateur Bagel, and our most famous competitor, which is Fairmont Bagel, who's been around just as long as we have.
And that was Hyman Siegelman's Montreal Bagel Bakery, right?
Again, Siegelman also worked at that shop. But
so there was an even more legendary.
Yeah, but he wasn't the owner. So Siegelman and Meyer went to St-Viateur.
Got it. And so this is in like the early 1950s, like 1953, and
well, this is Fairmont opened in 51, but they closed in 59 or 60. St-Viateur opened in 57. Siegelman was there right in the beginning, but really it was Meyer, it was his wife, It was their adopted son, Jerry, and our longtime employee, Jaime, who worked till the day he died. Literally, he died. He died in the bagel shop about 10 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, he was 85.
He's like, this is where...
Jaime lived in... he was our first employee, and he literally gave his life to the bagel shop.
So when the bagel shop opened, what were bagels like in Montreal? Were they popular? Like, were they just considered an immigrant food? Because now celebrities and everyone eats them. But back then, what was it like?
Well, right now it's mainstream.
Yeah.
Back then, in the area where the original bagel shop is called the Mile End, and it's always been an immigrant neighborhood. So and so the flow of people and so the flow of people that worked at the bagel shop. So it was primarily a Jewish neighborhood in the 40s and 50s, and there's still a lot of Hasidic Jews there today. And then it evolved. There were the Italian immigrants, like my dad came into town, the Greek immigrants, the Spanish immigrants, and it evolved in the Jewish neighborhood, and now it's become gentrified. It's a hipster neighborhood. Yeah. More or less. So it kind of flowed, but the bagel shop in the early days was a Jewish bakery.
Sure.
The Quebecers and the Anglos of Montreal didn't know what bagels were, so my dad started working there in 1963, and he learned Yiddish because all the customers were Jewish.
Now, your dad got there because he used to was a delivery boy, right? And he was delivering to the store.
My father is an Italian immigrant. He came here at the age of 10. By the age of 12, 13, he had a milk run. So he used to deliver milk. He grew up in the area, and he used to deliver milk, and he used to deliver milk to Meyer's house. And as the story goes, Meyer liked him because he was always on time, pleasant, and he goes, "Hey, kid, do you have a job?" He goes, "No." "Well, you start today."
Wow.
And it's 50 years later, and he's still there. Yeah.
So one of the things I want to talk about before I talk about your father, Joe, a little bit more is that in addition to everything being hand-rolled, it's also the oven. Because when you walk into the store, I mean, my earliest memories is the smoke and the smell and the wood. Can you talk about the original oven from the original store and the importance of like it being the way that it was built and how it cooks the bagels?
Yeah, well, I've never seen any other ovens. I've studied a lot of ovens.
I've never seen another oven
because it's a very large. It's a 10 by 10 square oven where the inside hearth is actually rectangular, and it's all wood burning. So and that gives the wood also a source of heat, but it's also a source of smoke. So the dome on the inside keeps the smoke in, and it gives the bagels a little bit of that smoky, woody smell.
Yeah.
As well as cooking them properly. And we use this tool called the Shiba, and with the Shiba, which is like a long wooden pallet, it's about 10 feet long.
Yeah, I was gonna say long isn't fair enough. It's like super long. It's like huge.
So it's the actual dimension. They're 11 feet by 5 inches wide. So with this long stick, we go in and out of the oven, and we shift the bagels around because it's artisanal, and because we don't even have a temperature gauge on the oven. It really is done by feel and by eye. So the baker, who takes months to train, shifts the bagels around in the oven according to how hot the oven is in certain spots.
And they can just feel it and just see it, and they just know.
Yeah, well, they know, after experience, where to put the wood and how much wood is giving how much heat, and they move the bagels around accordingly.
So your father starts in the early 60s.
Yeah, so my dad started there as a kid. He didn't finish high school in the beginning, but he went back to finish night school later on. So he started there, and he was, back then a work week wasn't 40 hours. A work week was 60 hours.
Right. No child labor laws.
Yeah, there were no child. So he worked hard. So my dad started there in the 60s, and they were really a small team. And the bagel shop used to open at 6 in the morning and close at 5 in the afternoon.
Right.
Back in those days, it wasn't an overnight thing or an evening thing like it is today. And then come the late 60s, what my dad realized is that they kept turning away people at the door. So he told Meyer, he goes, "Listen, on Friday, I'll stay. Pay me a little bit more, and I'll stay till there's no more customers."
Sure.
So this is about 68, 69.
Yeah.
And so he stayed till 6 o'clock, and there were customers at the door. He stayed till 7 o'clock, there were customers at the door. He stayed till 8 o'clock, there were customers at the door. So eventually they just said, "Listen, we're just not going to close." So that's how the 24-hour thing started to happen. And we were only 24 hours Friday night and Saturday night for many years. And then about 20 years ago, we made the decision to go 24 hours all the time.
And around this time, so now it's been open for 15, 20 years. Are bagels starting to get popular outside of the Jewish community? Like, are other...
Yeah, come the late 60s, early 70s, we started to get the publicity. We were in some newspapers.
Sure.
And then one thing that, like, if you had to pick a point in our timeline that was crucial to our growth, Don Bell, which is a Canadian author, wrote a book called Saturday Night at the Bagel Factory.
Yes.
And it was a series of short stories, and the first story is about Saturday Night at the Bagel Shop. You know, my dad, Jerry, and all the characters. You're talking the late 60s here, so you had the mobsters, you had the politicians, you had the exotic dancers, you had the people from all walks of life walked into the bagel shop on a Saturday night.
And that's when people started going like, I want to go there, I want to hang out, I want to get a bagel.
Well, yeah, and you know what? From back then to this day, it's always been about the bagel.
Yeah.
You know, so I always say, if people visit Montreal, a very quintessential Montreal thing to do is go to the bagel shop any time of day, whether it be noon or midnight, and grab a hot bagel out of the oven and take a bite.
I would say it's usually our first stop when we come to town.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and talk about your father, Joe, becoming a partner, and then you and your brothers getting involved in the business as well.
Very good.
We have a song from the archives here on Snacky Tunes on heritageradionetwork.org. Welcome back to Snacky Tunes. We are sitting here at St-Viateur in the Montreal. Hello and welcome back to Snacky Tunes. We are sitting at the Montreal Cafe with Vince Morena, talking about the history of what is probably my favorite bagel shop in the world.
Well, thank you.
I mean, I always think about it. My memories of Montreal and my father, my grandparents, everything is really tied to this bagel shop.
Well, over the years, we've had so many generations come in, and it kind of hit a chord when about in 2008, I opened an online store.
Yeah.
So people would call, and a lot of times I was on the phone for like 20 minutes with these ex-Montrealers or people that went to school here, or someone like you says, like, my grandfather brought me here when I was a kid, and they had their short stories to tell, and it's always a good memory, you know. Like, usually it's with your dad or your grandfather or your mom, walk into the bagel shop and get a hot bagel. So it's a lot of good memories tied in with the bagel shop.
It's all memory. That smell. Every time I hold one, every time I smell one, it just brings me back to my times here. Now, in the early mid 70s, your father became a part-time owner. So by the time he's been working here over 10 years, more or less.
My dad actually left.
Oh, he left.
My dad got married very young, and he left for 3-4 years to try and start his own business.
Okay.
So my dad had a garage, and he would still work at the bagel shop on the weekends.
Got it.
So he was working a lot of hours because he had a business that he was working hard at, and then he'd still keep the Saturday night at the bagel shop. And then what happened was, my dad wasn't working, and it was like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and there was a lineup, and one of the employees didn't show up. So Meyer was there. So you have a roller, a baker, and someone to sell bagels. Sure. That was back in the old days. Now we have a roller, a baker, and maybe 3 people selling bagels. 1 person to clean, 1 person to make the dough. So we have a lot more staff than we used to have. But it used to be a 3-person team back then, and they were short 1 guy. So you're short 33% of your labor staff. Right. It's big. So my dad walked in, and he just walked in to say hello. He was dressed in civilian clothes, not bagel shop clothes, and he saw that they were short-staffed, and so he put on an apron and he helped them out, you know. And at that point, Meyer said, "You know what? You're my partner." So my dad bought in '74. He bought 49% of the business from Meyer.
So Meyer could still make the decisions.
Yeah. So Meyer was a tough boss, but a heart of gold. Yeah. You know, he had no filter, and when I started working there, he was just, we still call them Meyerisms, you know. And a lot of them wouldn't fly today because they were so politically incorrect, you know. So, meaning, like, if you did something stupid, he would say, "Hey, stupid," you know. He'd call you stupid in front of like 20 people, but believe me, you wouldn't do it again, you know. So, you know, now you can't call an employee stupid.
You cannot. You got to go, listen.
Yeah,
let's talk about what happened.
Exactly. If he's stupid, he called you stupid, you know.
So the crazy part about it is that you didn't open up your second location until the early to mid 80s. What made you, why wait so long, but then what made you decide to open up another location after waiting, almost 30 years?
Well, at that point, bagels were starting to grow and grow and grow. So when my dad came in as a partner in 74 to about, and then we opened our second shop in 83. So, and my dad always wanted to open another shop. Fairmont was closed. So Fairmont was closed from, I'm going to say like 61, 62 to 79. Wow. So Fairmont opened because we were so busy. Huh. So because we used to have a sign, a limit of 2 dozen per customer. Wow. So there'd be a lineup outside the door literally all day because we could only work at 35 dozen an hour. Sure. And we used to have a little sign saying 2 dozen per customer. We had no wholesale. So it was all the walk-ins. So when Fairmont opened in 79, my dad really wanted to open another store. And Meyer always said, his saying was, you can't dance at 2 weddings, you know? Sure. Which is an old-fashioned way of thinking. But then he saw that we couldn't keep up, so we opened one down the street in 1983, literally 2 blocks away. So you still see we have a buggy that transports bagels from one store to the other store, you know? So it's still going back and forth.
So you open up, and I guess at that time, that's when just things really take off.
Well, the 2 stores, so that was in 84. So back then there was only 3 bagel shops in Montreal, R2 and Fairmont. And the retail was still strong enough, but we're starting to get some, like Beauty's has always been, Beauty's is a restaurant,
Sure.
a landmark restaurant
Legendary.
in Montreal. They've always been a customer, but we had more and more of those customers
Right.
coming up. So people, can you deliver, can you deliver? So in 84, when we opened the second shop, we bought a Ford Escort station wagon.
Classic.
We got a driver, and
Just dropping bagels
we
off.
started dropping bagels off to around town.
And so when did your father rope you and your brothers, all the sons, into the business? How did you get started?
Well, I'm the eldest, and he didn't really have to rope us in. Like, I mean, we always like our dad worked so much when we were a kid that we were just happy to see him when we saw him. You know,
Yeah.
like he used to work night. Going back to '74, my dad did 30 years of night shift. You know, and that kind of cemented the bagel shops. He set the groundwork, and that cemented the bagel shop's foundation for being what it is today, like that legendary status, that 24/7.
Right.
He did those 24 hours. He did that night shift for 30 years, and he cemented so many relationships and people, and he helped people out, and he's a people person. So he got to he put his imprint on the bagel shop. So when it was time to work, I mean, I was 13, 14. My dad says, "You want to come to work?" I said, "Yeah." I jumped.
Sure.
I didn't know I was gonna be here for that long, but
Yeah.
So my brothers and I have a similar history. We all started working at 13, 14 years old, slowly, and then by 15, 16, I was working full time in the summers.
Yeah.
And we all got our degrees. We all went to university, but I say we always have two educations. We got our school education, but we got our work and street education, because back then it was a little bit of a rougher neighborhood in the 80s.
Sure.
And so we learned how to be street smart as well.
How long did it take for you to learn to make the bagels? Because I know that it takes a while, but how long till your father trusted you to work the ovens and roll out and things like that?
Well, I was always a good roller, so
Yeah.
it took me about a month to learn to roll bagels, and I was never a great baker, because I was always. It just so happened that the first 3 years that I made bagels, the guy that I worked with only liked to bake, so I only knew how to roll.
Yeah.
And then I was doing, because my dad trusted me, he wanted me to work at the cash, because it's a cash business and there's money coming in and out. So I didn't, like I never became a great oven guy. Like I might have worked maybe 2 or 3 summers working on the oven, but I was always a great roller and a fast roller.
Yeah.
So
That's one part. That's a big part of the process.
The oven's harder.
The oven's harder.
The rolling I could do in my sleep. You know.
You never lose those moments. Now, in the early '90s, unfortunately, Meyer passes away, and then
Well, what again on our timeline before we get to Meyer?
Yeah.
We had a huge fire in '84.
yes, you had a huge fire in '84. And what was that? And that was at the original location.
The
correct?
original location burnt down. The only thing left was the oven. The oven didn't burn down, so it actually turned to be a blessing in disguise, because the original bagel shop, as you see it now, looks small, but it's actually double the size from the really original shop.
Right, because you could never shut down to really do any changes, because people would riot if you shut down and say,
Yeah.
we need to...
Well, and when we burnt the person, because that location was actually 2 small stores, so then we took the store next door, and so then we reopened. But thankfully during that time we had the second shop, so we just rerouted the customers to the other shop.
Beautiful. And so you reopen, and does the community just completely like rally around, like support the rebuilding?
Oh yeah, I mean it didn't take long. The fire was in April, and I think we were open again in September.
Mm-hmm.
So we were closed, but I mean I don't remember it so much because it was '84 and I was 13. So
Yeah.
I just remember my dad really working hard to get it open again.
And so then it's open for another 10 years, and then unfortunately Meyer passes away.
Well, in '93, before he knew he had cancer, Meyer is 65 and he wants to retire, so he sells the remaining shares to my dad
Right.
in '93.
So the last...
Actually, 93 or 94. I think it was 94.
94.
Meyer passed in 95, I think.
Yeah. And so
So-
he what was it like when he passed away? I mean, that must have been...
Well, it was very sad. I mean, when my dad took over, that was a natural progression, because Meyer was already demi-retired. He wasn't coming in as much. He was trying to enjoy life, which was great for him. He and Emma would come in Sunday morning, say hi to everybody, and then they would go for a walk on the mountain, and they would come back and bring Danishes for the workers. And so he already had one foot out the door, and then he retired, and then unfortunately, he got cancer and passed away soon after. So it was a shock. And like I said, we have a lot of long-time employees.
Sure.
I would say, out of, let's say, the 250 employees we have now, 20 or 30 are 30 years plus.
Wow.
So those employees there, like we said, we still have we call them Meyerisms, and they're getting fewer and fewer. So you don't hear them as often. But when we see each other, we'll shoot out a Meyerism, you know.
Drop a few.
Yeah.
So your dad takes over, and when do you and your brother start getting more and more involved with the business, with running it?
So my dad took over in '94. I was coming out of university, and I already had a managerial job at a banquet hall. And then my dad approached me, listen, if you want to come work with me, and I said, on one condition, I can't work with you. Meaning, if I'm going to come into the business, we're going to expand.
Yeah.
The time was right. In the early 90s, bagels were hot.
Yep.
Cafes were hot.
Yeah.
Starbucks in the States, Second Cup in Canada. And so that was so the first thing I did when I got there in '95 is we opened inside the Esposito store, which is a little offshoot to expand our wholesale business. And then we opened the first St-Viateur Bagel and Cafe here on Mount Royal in '96.
And what was that like? I mean, do people, because for those, again, who've never been, when you go to the normal, just the bakery, you go in, you get your bakery, and you leave. Were people excited to be able to come in, have a sandwich, sit down, enjoy a cup of coffee?
Oh, yeah. When we first opened the Plateau was still a little bit of grungy, but it was emerging into a great neighborhood. And when we opened, we had lineups from the first day, which we were thankful. We didn't realize how strong our name was till we opened here.
Yeah.
So people loved the fact we had a great little cafe, just bagel sandwiches on the menu, and we were a neighborhood cafe for many years, and now 20 years later here at this location, we've evolved into a tourist spot.
Yeah, it's great.
So this place is the weekends and during the week a lot of tourists.
And so I want to talk about the history because in 2017, you guys turned 60 years old.
Right.
And it's been like a long journey, a beautiful journey. You've now become a staple of Montreal. And part of your community work, and I want to touch on this in our last few moments, is that you do a lot of charity as well. And you give back to the community.
Well, that started from Meyer and my dad.
Yeah.
So Meyer and my dad were always charitable. Like, maybe they started with the Children's Foundation officially in '84. Mm-hmm. There would be there'd be a telethon in Montreal every year, and we'd go and present the check and raise money all year.
You'll pick that up.
Bagel. Oui. Non, c'est bien ça. Un instant, je vais vérifier. Je te vois pas sur le schedule, mais texte José pour être sûr. T'as-tu son numéro? Ok, bye.
Cool. So let's just pick it up from the charity with Meyer and your father.
Yeah. So what I mean by small charity is that they wouldn't let people go hungry. You know, so there was a lot of homeless in the area, and they knew if they would come in, and they would get a bagel.
Yeah.
You know, so or people, families that couldn't afford to eat or whatever, they would get bagels. So
wow.
It started with that type of charity on the streets in the neighborhood, you know, and then we started with the Children's Foundation in '84, and every money we raised money for the telethon, and then on our 50th anniversary we raised $50,000, and then on our 60th anniversary we decided to raise $60,000 for the children.
It's amazing. It's amazing, and it's great that you can give back, and that the brand means so much beyond just the bagel itself, but the people here of Montreal and Canada at large.
Again, although we do some of the larger donations, it really is about the community.
Yeah.
You know, and when we did our 60th anniversary, we just threw a big block party, and people came. We probably had over 10,000 people pass by that day just to celebrate bagels, which is funny because where else in the world would the 10,000 people show up to celebrate bagels?
I don't know where else. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us.
Oh, pleasure.
Just one question. Is there anything better than a fresh St-Viateur bagel out of the oven?
Nothing. I still eat them. I work here every day, and I still eat them.
Yes. Well, so if people want to find you online, they want to order online, where can they go?
St-ViateurBagel.com.
Okay, and then you're also on Instagram and all that as well?
Instagram, Facebook, and that's it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Here's to another 60 years, if not more.
Perfect.
We have a song from the archives and then a live performance here on Snacky Tunes on heritageradionetwork.org.
You make me melt inside when I see those eyes, and darling, I would die. Kiss those thighs, wax start off at your nose and end up at your toes. You can feel my love grow. We'll explode together. We're smiling, fixed on what to do. Tonight, you know I'm going home with you. We spend all night on the rooftop and twist and make sure to shout. Tune in to know. Drop out.
100 Bogart Street is finally open and ready for Bushwick. 100 Bogart is a brand new, state-of-the-art co-working space that provides turnkey workspaces, including open layout desks, meeting spaces, and furnished private offices. Members have access to top-notch amenities such as custom furniture, high-speed internet, spacious kitchenettes with coffee and tea, printers, scanners, and much more. Alongside their professional work environment, 100 Bogart also provides exclusive educational programming for any curious entrepreneur. Heritage Radio Network has made their new office home at 100 Bogart and will host many events there in the future. For more information about their co-working space, visit 100bogart.com and become a member to network, create, and educate.
I want to welcome to the show Mountain Animation. What's up, guys? How you doing?
Hey, thanks for having us.
Thank you. And again, my apologies. The album is out and climbing the charts, as they used to say. I don't know if anyone says climbing the charts anymore. Do you guys want to introduce yourself?
I'm Zach. I'm Scott.
How did you... Well, I know that my brother came across you guys busking in the subway.
That's actually how we met. So
Yes,
yeah,
that's how you guys met. And I thank you guys for following up on the email and coming on the show.
Sure, it's a pleasure to be here.
How did you two guys meet?
We met in the subway actually. So yeah, all of this is happening.
How did you two meet though?
Oh, in the subway.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the L train was broken. Imagine that. So
it was broken today, actually. I got here a lot later than I thought I would.
Wow,
spooky.
Broken L train. What are the chances? So the L train was broken.
Yeah, so I went to. I just hit my head on a dead animal. I went to the Delancey Street stop, and Scott was there playing violin, and I had a banjo, so we quickly accidentally formed sort of a bluegrass-sounding band, and then realized that that's not what we wanted to do at all, and went back to, loud, progressive, avant-garde rock with banjos and violins.
Wow, what's your background? Are you guys from New York, or?
I've been here for about 15 years.
Okay.
That counts.
Yeah, that's New York.
I always try and like figure like is it 8 years? Is it 7 years? And like you're a New Yorker at that point.
Yeah, or it's every other second you are and aren't. Because, you're just like, you almost get like an old New York accent, and you're like, I don't understand this. I just want to go back to wherever I came from, which I don't remember. Because I don't have enough room in my head.
It's crazy because sometimes, buskers are, I don't want to say territorial because I know there's a community, but for you guys to like wind up jamming together on the subway is a pretty awesome story.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had never been to that territory, so...
Yeah.
So, yeah, Scott had been there a couple times, so...
And you just,
after a brief fisticuffs with...
you had to friends. Square off.
Yeah.
I like the cut of your jib and the way you swing that banjo, sir. And how about you? How long have you been in New York?
3 years.
And where are you coming from?
The Midwest, kind of North Dakota and Colorado.
Okay.
So like blank slate, essentially. I was not a person. Yeah, where? Who knows?
Over there.
The land of open spaces.
Yeah.
So then, how did you? So you did want to do bluegrass. You have this new sound, and how did that sort of? Because the music you play is not exactly what I would think would be coming out of the instruments that you have.
Thank you.
Which is exciting because I always loving to see like instruments in the sound repurposed into a different genre. How did you guys sort of stumble upon it, or how did it evolve?
Oh, that's such a good question.
Well,
I think we just started buying amps.
Yeah.
And when we got louder and started playing louder shows, we realized that we didn't want to sound.
Wait, so you run your banjo, your violin through amps, and
so,
oh wow,
it sounds like a.
And that's not a super common thing, is it?
No.
No,
I mean, it's.
I don't think I've really ever seen a banjo through.
Yeah, I've never seen a banjo through an amp. And I grew up in North Georgia, so I've seen a lot of banjos and dulcimers and everything like that. But I never saw it like amplified.
Yeah, it's relatively new technology. It's normally like little microphones on banjos and stuff.
Awesome.
And I tried everything, and they all just sounded, inadequate for a big stage. So.
Awesome.
Well, you guys want to play a song? You guys want to riff or something?
Yeah.
What do you want to play first?
Survey Survive. Should be.
Awesome. Okay, here we go. Mountain Animation live on Snacky Tunes.
everybody knows. Shelter for a minute at least. Survey, survive. How we gonna stay alive? Mason style. Keep the walls up for a while. You may fear protection might be a veneer or a souvenir. Say with your wrinkled eyes, hey, yeah. If it is the sun and we're the one selling guns, I can hear the mouth talk. The pocket protects the hair and calculates. It's thicker in spring, and thinner when the autumn brings rose trees. Buckets of cream, middle age, wailing, rolling, long with the song surveys. How we gonna stay alive, amazing style. The world's up for a while, you may fear protection might be a veneer or a souvenir. The severed times, the level of crime, the wines, the 45 skyscraper. By the pound, by the ounce, lost a lot on the cross, bound his ego, stealing from the soul. The luggage is tagged with sands in the summer heat. The show is over. Heck band on growing in a stone, so that ladder made a big fat. Pull the teeth, reach, attached to the road, is visceral. The only thing admissible, kissable. The only thing untouchable, crushable. Understanding be down, down, just a rolling. Survey, survive. How we gonna stay alive? Amazing style. Balls up for a while. May fear protection might be a veneer or a souvenir.
So intense.
Oh, thanks.
Sorry, I'm just fixing the microphone. Oh man,
I've seen a number of performances on your show, and I've listened to a lot more, but I don't know if I've seen that energy.
No, that's big. That's big on a Sunday afternoon too. I could,
Coffee
yeah.
around the corner.
Oh man, that is, dude, that's great.
So how does it work? How do you guys write?
Yeah,
I mean, like, what's the process?
I had some old songs that we sort of amped up because Scott has a way of making your sound.
Yeah, he definitely takes it to that next level.
Yeah.
And then other ones, we play in the subway sometimes and just kick out a jam using the walls, and you get to kind of write in front of 1,000 people in an hour. Like you'll see, get all this inspiration and stuff like that.
How much is freestyle jam in the subways, and how much is you got the new album, so you practicing songs for the next show, or is there a mix?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, the perfect mix. Right?
I mean, you're not. Are you singing much in the subway though?
Yeah, totally singing. Yeah,
but I mean, how does that? You don't have a. Do you have amps in the subway as well?
Oh no, just a louder voice.
Just a louder voice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's get the walls down there.
Yeah.
Make some noise.
So let's talk about the new album.
Okay.
Big ol' epic, bunch of tunes. Sounds awesome. Sounds great. What was the writing process on that? A lot of songs coming from your subway sessions, and then just growing, or just going to the studio just with a bunch of fresh ideas and put something together.
Well, we called it Tesseract, Flapjack, Tesseract, Flashback for several reasons, but one of them was that there's a couple of tunes that I wrote a long time ago. We just, took in a new direction, or several new directions, and then some songs that it seems like were kind of like from the future or something, you know, like of our next sound coming, and then some stuff from recent times that we've been working on, like tour half the time. And
you guys tour a lot, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
How does the touring work? Do you guys just book yourselves, or just kind of get in a van and go, or do you?
Do you guys even need a van? I mean, it's just the two of you, right?
Yeah,
We drive a little 2-door.
Gotta get a Prius.
A little smart car across America.
Totally. Pick up as many people as possible and have the clown car effect at the shows.
Yeah.
I mean, what network? Where do you guys play? Like, what are some of the? What's your normal circuit?
Normal circuit is like jet out to the Rockies and then go up and down the Rockies and up and down the West Coast. And this year we're gonna finally get to the South.
Oh,
with
nice
this project. And
nice.
Then, Northeast has always been great. We just keep on meeting more and more wonderful people.
But you book the shows yourselves and everything.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
There's no agent. You just call up your network of friends and
Yeah,
people
you can
that
just
are in the
email
community.
Or
Totally.
call me.
Yeah, just call us and
Just call you.
we'll call you.
Have car, have instruments, we'll play.
And so, when you guys, I don't know, you guys have a vibe where, and a feeling that like you guys will play and could jam with anyone. I feel like there's some magical mystery with you guys where just like you could be in a town and like a show would just happen.
Yeah, we played at a metal bar outside of Chicago on our last tour.
Yeah, in the
was
dead of
awesome.
winter. That was amazing.
Really? What was
How did
that?
that work
Show's
out?
over. It was great because our friend said, "Oh, I got this great spot in this little winter festival indoors for you, and it's there's not going to be a back line of amps there because it's in between two acoustic acts." And we showed up, and the one before was definitely one of the hardest bands I've ever seen.
Acoustic?
Oh no, hardcore punk.
So they had amps.
Oh yeah, they had
had
stacks.
Yeah.
And big muscles, and they were awesome.
Dude,
My
that's-
favorite bands, actually.
The Kreutzer Sonata.
Yeah, they're
They're
amazing.
fantastic.
That's awesome. I mean, and it's just the two of you. Do you guys bring anyone with you on the road?
We brought the boss on the last one. Our friend Jessie. She's our boss.
Nicknamed the boss?
Yeah, because she's got the iPod.
Oh, yeah.
She just kills it. Like.
And when you guys on the road, are you guys cooking a lot, or are you guys just like?
It's really fun on this last one because we took a rice cooker with a little steamer
Wow.
to it. So just like rice on the bottom, tempeh on top, and
Two guys and a rice cooker.
Yeah,
Going
it's
across
like
America.
the cheapest tour.
I mean,
But how does it work? Do you like pull into a gas station? You're like, do you guys have like somewhere we can plug in and like make our
we would
meal?
cook
or?
it at the hotel in the morning or
Oh.
whatever, and then just keep it in the trunk.
yeah, we did that. The first time we did it was like in the middle of Nebraska, pulled into a gas station where, of course, no matter what you eat, there's probably not food for you.
No.
They don't have tempeh.
No, they're not.
It's not gonna happen.
I'm
Popped the
sorry,
trunk and
sir.
it was
What
warm.
sort of alternate wheat glutens do you have? I think it's. I mean, those rice cookers are so versatile. I mean, it's a pressure cooker. They're so good.
Yeah.
They're so good. And then you just have a bottle of siracha and maybe some soy sauce.
Oh,
and
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, some of those amino acids. Yeah.
Rice and beans.
Yeah.
Totally done.
You guys want to play another song?
Love to.
Okay, what we got? What do we have?
What do we have?
Want to do way too much?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
All right, Way Too Much by Mountain Animation, live here on Snacky Tune.
We're precarious.
so awesome.
Thank you.
So amazing. Whew. Heating it up in here. That
we
AC
definitely have to turn on the AC.
it's on. It's not working. Summer's coming up. What's in store? What's on tour?
Big old West. But this time we're going to avoid Death Valley in the summer, and we're going to avoid Chicago in the winter. We've got it down. We're going to be good birds.
It builds character.
It builds character. We have enough character in melted instruments.
I mean, those. I'll take that heat over Chicago winter.
Ooh, 130 degrees.
You know what? I will definitely take Chicago or a New York winter, to be honest.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
it's real bad driving through there.
That sucks, man. I don't like sweating.
Yeah, 120 at night. Yeah, it's too
Cool. See you in Chicago.
Yeah. So you guys just gonna hop in the two-door smart car, drive all around, hit the rocks, things like that. And the album. Where can people get the album?
It's on our Bandcamp.
Man, shout out to Bandcamp.
Bandcamp is the best.
Seriously, like, talk about a game changer of a website. Like, really just cutting out all that red tape bullshit, just getting the album and the music out to the people.
Yes.
And the fact that they do once a week free albums for certain bands is just, it's so awesome as well.
Yeah, the whole system's great.
The whole system's great. Can I ask, do you guys do merch? You guys do t-shirts and things like that? I feel...
We're working on a whole package that's coming out with the...
I'm sorry, man. That bore's head. I know. But you guys are working on stuff?
Yeah,
we have CDs, and we're working on getting some vinyl and tapes and t-shirts. That'll come out middle of the summer.
Is it crazy to me that tapes are back?
Oh,
that's great.
Cool.
I know. I mean, it's awesome, but they've definitely had the revitalization. But I don't have a tape player anymore.
Yeah, everybody in LA is just buying a tape player for their car, you know.
Yeah, I know, but because I know all the limited edition tapes and things like that, like legit cassette tapes.
Mm-hmm. It's because you can't have a record player in Los Angeles because you're always in your car. So
well, and they definitely don't make record players for cars anymore.
Not yet. I mean,
not yet. Not yet. All right, cool.
My family once had an 8-track player in their car.
That'd be really funny. I don't think that technology to record onto 8 tracks anymore exists.
No, I think that's gone.
That's done.
That'd be really funny if they were doing 8 track. Like bands would be like, oh yeah, we got a new 8 track coming out. It's pretty cool.
A Laserdisc player for the kids in the back so they can see the...
Yeah, Laserdisc player for the kids, 8 track for the parents. Summer's on fire. So we're gonna fit one more song, but I want to thank all of our special guests. Thank you, Carter, for coming.
Of course.
Marianne, thank you so much.
With pleasure.
Elaine, thank you so much. I know that you were a little late. Just shout out. How are you?
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good. Everything good with you?
Yeah, wine is awesome.
Yes. Well, you can thank Marianne for that. Thank you so much for time. We'll have you back on. We'll figure some out sometime. And shout out to everybody who's listening. We're back next week with another show. I'm sure it's going to be fun. And I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like summer. Well, the rosé is getting to me a little bit, so I feel like the summer is here. Pseudo France Festival coming out. Mountain Animation on tour. Get the album. The album's great.
Awesome. I just really want to say thanks to the guys at the Headroom. This is our first gig since we released the album. They recorded it. They did awesome. Thanks, Kyle and Joe. You're the best.
Yeah, shout out to the producers. Awesome. Shout out to Heritage, Jack, Aaron, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Darren. It's always a pleasure to be
God.
here. It's such a fantastic show.
Oh, you're making me blush.
No,
my cheeks
please.
My cheeks are a shade of rosé. And for everybody who wants to come out, we're doing our barbecue blowouts again in May with Estella and Turing Machine will be DJing. It's a BBQ Blowout May 2014.eventbrite.com or just search barbecue blowout.
Yeah, I would say nobody is going to remember that.
No one's going to remember that.
But come to the blowout anyway.
Come to the blowout.
They're awesome.
God, if we still updated our website, I'd say go there, but we haven't written a post in maybe 3 years. Anyway, or just hit us at, I don't know, just hit Heritage Radio Network and we'll get all the info because they're one of the sponsors. Thank you so much. One last song. What do you got for us?
We got Bring 'Em Home, which was written by my cat Nimbus. She plays the bass. She's taking a nap right now.
Oh.
So she couldn't be with us.
Okay, here we go. Live on Snacky Tunes. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you in a week.
about food. We talk about music with musical dudes. Finger on the pulse, snacky tunes.
Thanks for listening to Heritage Radio Network, food radio supported by you. For our freshest content and to hear about exclusive events, subscribe to our newsletter. Enter your email at the bottom of our website, heritageradionetwork.org. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at heritage_radio. Heritage Radio Network is a nonprofit organization driving conversations to make the world a better, fairer, more delicious place. And we couldn't do it without support from listeners like you. Want to be a part of the food world's most innovative community? Rate the shows you like, tell your friends, and please join our community by becoming a member. Just click on the beating heart at the top right of our homepage. Thanks for listening.